The air smells faintly of salt before the sun appears. A warm breeze drifts in from the water. Palm fronds rustle softly above us. Somewhere in the distance, a gull calls across the quiet shoreline. The sky is still pale, caught between night and morning. Miami Beach is waking up. The streets are almost empty. A few porch lights still glow. The neon signs that painted the night with color have gone dark for now, waiting for evening to return. Along the beach, the sand is cool beneath our feet. Gentle waves slide onto the shore and retreat again, leaving thin ribbons of foam behind. Everything feels unhurried. The hotels stand quietly along the waterfront, their curved lines and pastel colors catching the first hints of daylight. In 1959, many of these buildings are still relatively new, symbols of a city that seems to grow more confident every year. But at this hour, none of that matters. What matters is the feeling of a place before the crowds arrive, the feeling of hearing the ocean more clearly than the traffic, the feeling of standing in a moment that belongs only to the early risers. A delivery truck hums somewhere down the street. A newspaper lands on a front step with a soft thump, lights flicker on behind curtains. Coffee begins to brew in kitchens we cannot see. The day is stretching awake. You can almost feel the warmth gathering in the sky, preparing for another bright Florida afternoon. For now, though, the city belongs to the dawn. The ocean keeps its steady rhythm. The breeze carries the scent of salt and sun-bleached wood. And as the first golden light reaches the tops of the buildings, Miami Beach opens its eyes to another ordinary day that will one day become a memory. The sun rises a little higher now, brushing the streets with gold. Shadows shorten across the sidewalks. The city is no longer asleep, but it has not yet reached its full stride. And that gives us time, because you and I are going to spend one full day here. Not just a visit, not a quick glance at old photographs. We are going to walk these streets together. We will follow the hours as they unfold, from this quiet morning beside the Atlantic all the way to the glow of neon after dark. We will watch shopkeepers unlock their doors. We will hear the sounds drifting from open windows. We will see families gathering for dinner and strangers crossing paths on warm sidewalks. For a little while, this is our day too. Miami Beach in 1959 feels permanent. The hotels seem as though they will stand forever. The storefronts feel familiar and dependable. The routines repeat day after day, season after season. Yet something is already changing beneath the surface. You cannot quite see it yet, not in the morning light, not while the streets are filling with life. But before this day is over, we will begin to notice small signs that this world is quietly moving toward something new. The change is gentle, almost invisible, but it is there. That is one reason these moments feel so precious now. If you enjoy walking back into these forgotten times, consider subscribing to The Way We Were TV so you don't miss the next journey. For now, there is nowhere else to be. The day is waiting for us. The ocean is sparkling under the growing sun. The streets are beginning to stir, and somewhere just ahead, the first real sounds of morning are ready to greet us. Morning arrives gently, then all at once. The sunlight spills across Ocean Drive, turning windows into sheets of gold. Palm shadows stretch across the pavement. The air already feels warm, carrying the scent of salt water and fresh coffee together. The city is awake now. A man in a short-sleeved shirt sweeps the sidewalk outside his shop. The steady scrape of the broom echoes. Through the quiet street, across the road, a waitress flips a sign in a diner window and begins arranging menus on clean tables. The sounds of the day gather one by one. A delivery truck rattles past. A bicycle bell rings somewhere nearby. A radio crackles to life behind an open door. Nothing is loud. Nothing rushes. The morning unfolds at its own pace. Along the beach, a few early walkers leave footprints in the sand. The ocean rolls in with the same calm rhythm it had before sunrise. Children collect shells near the water's edge while their parents stand watching the horizon. You can almost feel the day opening like a book. The hotels along the shoreline catch the growing light. Their pastel walls glow softly beneath the Florida sun. In the late 1950s, Miami Beach is known across America as one of the country's most fashionable seaside destinations. But statistics never tell you what it feels like. What you remember is the warmth, the brightness. The way the ocean breeze finds you even on the hottest mornings. A convertible glides down the street. Its chrome flashes in the sunlight. A family from somewhere far north steps out carrying beach towels and folding chairs. They pause for a moment, taking in the view. For them, this is vacation. For others, it is simply another Tuesday. That contrast is everywhere. The mail carrier walks his route as tourists study maps. Store owners prepare for customers while visitors search for souvenirs. Life and leisure share the same sidewalks. If you grew up in this era, you remember this feeling, the sense that summer could last forever. The sense that the day ahead holds endless possibilities. The morning continues to build. More cars appear along the streets. Fill with conversation. The smell of bacon drifts from open kitchen doors. Glasses clink. Coffee cups are refilled. Friends wave from across intersections. The city seems to smile. Near the beach, lifeguards begin setting up their stations. Umbrellas bloom across the sand like bright flowers. Children race toward the water without a trace of hesitation. Parents call after them. The waves answer first. Hours pass almost unnoticed. The sun climbs higher. The shadows shrink. The breeze softens. The streets that felt spacious at dawn now carry a steady flow of people moving in every direction. Every face appears to be headed somewhere. Every storefront seems to have a story waiting inside. And as the morning slowly gives way to the brighter hours ahead, Miami Beach feels alive in the most ordinary and beautiful way. Nothing remarkable is happening. Yet everything feels unforgettable. By noon, the street has changed. The soft quiet of morning has given way to movement. Sunlight pours straight down now, bright and confident. The sidewalks shimmer with heat. The ocean sparkles beyond the buildings like a sheet of moving glass. Main Street is alive. People flow in every direction. Families stroll beneath striped awnings. Visitors stop to admire storefront displays. Shop doors open and close with a steady rhythm, releasing brief bursts of cool air into the heat outside. Everywhere you look, life is unfolding. A pharmacist chats with a customer he has known for years. Across the street, a barber turns his chair toward the window between haircuts. A woman carrying shopping bags pauses to greet a neighbor. The city feels connected, not because everyone knows everyone, but because people still expect to meet one another face to face. A jukebox hums from inside a luncheonette. The smell of grilled sandwiches drifts through an open doorway. Glass bottles clink together behind a soda counter. Ice rattles into metal cups. Lunch hour has arrived. Workers fill booths beside tourists fresh from the beach. Ceiling fans spin lazily overhead. Conversations overlap into a warm, familiar background hum. Nobody seems eager to leave. In 1959, many downtown shopping districts across America are still the center of daily life. If you need something, chances are you come here to find it. But facts fade. What remains is the feeling of being surrounded by people. The feeling that the whole town is sharing the same afternoon. A teenager leans against a storefront window, saving coins for a milkshake. Nearby, two friends laugh over something neither will remember tomorrow. Yet somehow those tiny moments become the ones that last. If you grew up in this era, you remember this sound, the gentle mix of conversation, traffic and music drifting through an open door. Outside, the heat settles over everything. Palm trees sway slowly above the street. Cars move past in bright colors and polished chrome. Drivers rest one arm on the window frame, moving through town without hurry. The pace feels different here. The day stretches wider. People linger. They stop to talk. They wave from across the street. They stand in doorways just to watch the world go by. Near the beach, vendors sell cold drinks to sunburned visitors. Children carry dripping ice cream cones. The sand is crowded now, dotted with umbrellas and towels in every direction. The ocean never stops moving. Yet somehow it makes the whole city feel calmer. Back in town, businesses continue their daily rhythm. Cash registers ring. Packages are unpacked. Receipts are folded into pockets. The ordinary work of the day continues behind every window. And still, there is room for small pauses. A shopkeeper steps outside for a breath of fresh air. A waitress refills a coffee cup without being asked. A customer stays a little longer than necessary simply because the conversation is good. Those moments seem small. At the time, nobody notices them. Years later, they become the memory. The afternoon sun grows stronger. Shadows gather beneath awnings and parked cars. The bright energy of midday begins to soften around the edges. The city is still busy, but something is changing. The day has reached its highest point. And slowly, almost without warning, it begins its journey downward toward evening. By mid-afternoon, the sunlight has mellowed. The sharp brightness of noon softens into a warmer glow. Shadows begin to stretch again across the sidewalks. The ocean breeze returns, carrying relief from the day's heat. The city exhales. The lunch crowds thin. Store windows reflect the lowering sun. Some visitors remain at the beach, reluctant to leave the water. Others wander back toward hotels, carrying folded towels and sandy shoes. The pace slows, not because the day is ending, because people have settled into it. Behind storefronts and office windows, work continues. Telephones ring. Typewriters tap steadily in the background. Papers move from one desk to another. In 1959, many offices still rely on typewriters for nearly every document produced during the day. Yet from outside, all you hear is a faint clicking through an open window. One small sound, one small reminder of how different everyday life once felt. A mechanic wipes his hands with a rag and lowers the hood of a customer's car. A delivery driver finishes his route beneath the afternoon sun. A shop owner glances at the clock, already thinking about dinner. The ordinary work of the day continues quietly, and that ordinary rhythm is what makes this world feel so familiar. A few blocks away, a neighborhood begins preparing for evening. Screen doors open and close. Garden hoses splash across lawns. The scent of freshly cut grass drifts through the warm air. Children ride bicycles in lazy circles near the curb. Their laughter echoes down the street. Nobody is checking a phone. Nobody is staring at a screen. The neighborhood itself provides the entertainment. A baseball rolls into a driveway. A dog barks from behind a fence. Someone calls the kids home for supper, and nobody answers the first time. You can almost hear that voice carried on the breeze. If you grew up in this era, you remember this moment, the feeling of wanting just 10 more minutes before going inside. Inside one modest home, the day follows a familiar routine. A father returns from work and loosens his tie. A mother finishes preparing dinner. Children rush through the front door with stories from the afternoon. Nothing dramatic happens. No life-changing event, just an ordinary family gathering around an ordinary table. Yet this may be the most important moment of the entire day. The clatter of dishes, the scrape of chairs, the sound of people sharing the same room. These are the details that remain long after bigger memories fade. A meal is served. Stories are exchanged. Plans are made for tomorrow. Outside, the neighborhood grows quieter as more families head indoors. The sun continues its slow descent. Golden light settles across rooftops and palm trees. The city seems wrapped in amber for a few brief moments. Everything looks softer than it did an hour ago. The beach begins to empty. Shopkeepers straighten displays before closing. Workers lock doors and switch off lights. The long afternoon is drawing to a close, but the day is not over. Not even close, because Miami Beach is preparing for its second life. The daytime city belongs to sunlight and routine. The nighttime city belongs to neon and possibility. As the sun slips lower toward the horizon, signs begin to glow. Restaurant windows brighten. Music drifts into the evening air. The first hints of night are arriving, and the city is getting ready to shine. As the sun slips below the horizon, the city changes its clothes. The last traces of daylight fade from the sky. Deep blue settles over the ocean. The air cools just enough to feel comfortable again. Palm trees become silhouettes against the evening light, and then the neon comes alive. One sign flickers on, then another, then another. Colors spill across sidewalks and storefront windows. Pink, turquoise, red, and gold reflect off polished cars parked along the curb. The city that felt relaxed in the afternoon suddenly feels electric. Not rushed, not frantic, just awake in a different way. Music drifts from hotel lounges. Laughter spills through open doors. Couples stroll arm in arm beneath glowing signs. The warm evening breeze carries bits of conversation before whisking them away again. Miami Beach has entered its favorite hour. Restaurants fill with families finishing dinner and visitors beginning their nights. Waiters move between tables carrying trays of drinks and steaming plates. Glassware catches the neon light. Every table seems to hold a story. A honeymoon, a reunion, a celebration, or simply another evening among friends. In 1959, Miami Beach is one of America's most popular vacation destinations, drawing visitors from across the country throughout the year. But standing here tonight, you do not think about popularity. You think about atmosphere, the way the lights reflect on wet pavement, the way music seems to float through the air, the way strangers appear friendlier after sunset along the beach. The waves remain steady and patient. The ocean does not care whether it is morning or midnight. It keeps the same rhythm it has always known. The city moves around it. The water stays constant. Farther inland, movie theaters glow brightly. Their marquees shine above the sidewalks. Small crowds gather outside, reading titles and deciding what to see. Teenagers linger nearby, hoping the evening will last forever. For them, this night feels endless. Tomorrow is too far away to matter. A convertible cruises slowly down the boulevard. Chrome flashes beneath neon reflections. The radio plays softly through open windows. If you grew up in this era, you remember this feeling, the sense that something wonderful might happen before the night is over. Not because anything extraordinary is planned, because possibility itself feels exciting. The city hums with that energy. A hotel orchestra begins another song. Dancers step onto polished floors. Someone laughs a little louder than they intended. Someone else falls in love without realizing it yet. The hours pass gently. Night deepens. The busiest crowds begin to thin. Restaurant lights dim one by one. Shop windows go dark. The sidewalks grow quieter. Yet the city never feels empty, only peaceful. A few couples pause beside the water before heading home. The ocean breeze has grown cooler now. Waves catch moonlight and scatter it across the shore. The same beach that welcomed the sunrise now welcomes the night. The same city that woke with coffee and newspaper deliveries now settles into silence. A taxi rolls past. A distant radio plays somewhere beyond sight. A final neon sign flickers softly against the darkness. The day is nearly complete. Morning feels far away now. Yet somehow it all passed in the space of a single breath, and standing here beside the ocean, listening to the waves beneath the stars, it becomes easy to believe that this beautiful world will always remain exactly as it is. But quietly, beyond the glow of the neon and beyond, the comfort of familiar routines, change is already on its way. The change does not arrive overnight. There is no single moment when people stop and say goodbye to this world. Most never notice it happening at all. Life simply continues. Another morning arrives. Another summer season begins. Another year passes. Yet little by little, the landscape starts to shift. New highways stretch farther across Florida. Traveling becomes faster than it once was. People can move through places without stopping in them. Roads that once guided visitors directly into the heart of town now carry them past it. The old rhythms begin to loosen. Shopping slowly drifts away from traditional downtown streets. New malls promise convenience, parking, and air-conditioned comfort beneath one roof. Families who once spent entire afternoons walking storefront to storefront now have new places to gather. The sidewalks grow a little quieter. Not empty, just different. Children grow up and leave. Some head to larger cities. Others chase careers that do not exist here yet. The neighborhoods remain, but familiar faces become harder to find. A barber retires. A shop owner closes for the final time. A family restaurant changes hands. Nothing dramatic happens. No disaster. No sudden ending. Only the gentle passage of time. Buildings are remodeled. Signs are replaced. Businesses come and go. The city adapts, as cities always do. And yet something delicate slips away. Not the streets themselves. Not the ocean. Not the palm trees. The feeling. The shared routine. The small daily connections that once stitched ordinary life together. The world of 1959 does not disappear in a single season. It fades gradually, almost politely, making room for whatever comes next, and that may be why it feels so moving to look back. Because nobody realizes they are living inside a memory while it is happening. The people we followed through this day do not know they are standing at the edge of a changing era. They simply wake up, go to work, meet friends, share dinner, watch the neon lights come on, and trust that tomorrow will look much the same, for a while. It does. Then slowly, quietly, it doesn't. Maybe you remember a street like this. It may not have been Miami Beach. It may have been a small town hundreds of miles away, a neighborhood near a factory, a coastal city, a quiet suburb lined with modest homes. The details are different. The feeling is the same. Perhaps you remember the sound of a screen door closing behind you. On a summer evening, Perhaps you remember bicycles leaning against front porches. Perhaps you remember neighbors who never needed an invitation to stop and talk. The memory arrives in pieces. A certain smell, a certain song, the way sunlight looked on a particular afternoon, and suddenly you are there again, not because the place remained unchanged, because some part of it remained inside you. That is the strange gift of ordinary days. When they happen, they seem unimportant, they feel routine, forgettable, almost invisible. Yet years later, they become the moments we treasure most: the family dinner, the walk downtown, the familiar shopkeeper who knew your name, the long summer evening that felt as though it would never end. Those memories stay with us because they were never really about buildings or streets. They were about belonging, about feeling connected to a place and the people around you, about knowing where you fit in the story of everyday life. Even now, decades later, that feeling still reaches across time. A photograph can awaken it. A song can awaken it. A simple walk through an old memory can awaken it. And perhaps that is why places like this continue to matter. Not because they were perfect, because they remind us of who we were when the world felt a little slower, a little smaller, and a little closer to home. Some places don't survive, but they're never really gone. They remain in old photographs, in familiar songs, and in the memories carried by the people who lived them. They remain in the scent of salt air drifting through an open window, in the glow of a neon sign after sunset, in the sound of distant waves rolling onto a quiet shore. And they remain here for a little while longer. Together, we spent one full day in Miami Beach in 1959. We watched the city wake with the sunrise. We followed its streets through the heat of midday. We shared its ordinary afternoons and stood beneath its neon lights after dark. The day is over now. The ocean is still moving. The lights are slowly fading, and the city is settling into sleep once again. Some places don't survive, but they're never really gone. If this journey brought back a memory, leave a comment and share it with us. And if you enjoy walking through these forgotten moments in time, subscribe to channel name so you can join me on the next one. Until then, hold on to the memories that matter, and tell me, which place should we walk through next?